Hit Command-Shift-N to open a new blank project. The Final Cut Pro interface consists of 4 main windows, which you can arrange however you like. But by default, the top 3 windows line up left to right in a manner that reflects the basic workflow. In the upper left is the browser, where you import, label, and organize the individual elements of your project. They can be video clips, audio files, still images, bins, or sequences. Next comes the viewer, where you can preview your source media clips, set in and out points, control filters, motion effects, and audio levels. Next comes the canvas, where you can view playback of your sequence as it's assembled. It looks an awful lot like the viewer, and the transport and playhead controls are exactly the same. But the viewer displays and controls individual clips, while the canvas displays and controls your assembled sequence. The timeline is many things. You can think of it as a workbench, a roadmap, or even a kind of clothesline to hang your clips on. But it's really just a graphical representation of your sequence. The little boxes that you line up down here are the building blocks of your sequence. The duration and order of your clips in the timeline determine how they display in the canvas. The timeline and the canvas are flip sides of the same coin, your sequence. The canvas shows the outward surface, and the timeline reveals the underlying structure. When you click on any of these windows, the title bar goes from a dull gray to something closer to white, which means that the window is active. Identifying the active window at a glance is especially important when working with keyboard shortcuts, as many of them have different effects depending on which window is targeted. And if you're using keyboard shortcuts, you don't want to be reaching for the mouse constantly. You can shift back and forth between the viewer and the canvas by hitting the Q key. And there's a clockwise order for the keyboard shortcuts which make each window active, close, and open. The canvas is the current active window. Hit Command-1 to make the viewer active. Hit Command-1 again to close the viewer, and one more time to reopen it. Now try the other keyboard shortcuts, moving clockwise around the interface, and note the title bar of each window going from gray to less gray as it's made active. To the extreme right, you'll find the tool palette, providing a host of ways to select and alter your clips. We'll get to all of them in due time. But just remember when starting out, if your mouse pointer suddenly goes weird and takes an unfamiliar shape, you may have selected a different tool by accidentally hitting a keyboard shortcut. To get back to the selection tool, or standard mouse pointer, just click on it on the top of the tool palette. Or use the keyboard shortcut A. Lastly, we have the audio meter, indicating your output levels in real time as your sequence plays. In the digital domain, you have to keep your output below 0 dB, which means if you see red, your signal is going to clip and distort. It may sound fine at the moment, but if you cross that 0 dB threshold, it will turn to garbage. Trust the meters. Stay out of the red. All of the windows can be moved, and the 4 main ones can be resized as you like. Dragging at their intersection will resize multiple windows at once. This allows great flexibility. You can change the layout depending on the needs of the task at hand, and you can always return to the default layout by hitting Ctrl-U. Now that we know what each of these windows does, let's dig a little deeper and find out how they do it.